Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. Happy Easter, everyone. On today's show, we will have Bishop Donald DeGrood in the studio to talk about Easter. So stick around for that. It's always fun to have Bishop DeGrood here. So we have Dr. Chris Burgwald. I almost forgot your name for like 2 seconds. Like, who are you sitting across from me?
Well, that's okay, because before we started recording, Bill said, "Hey, you," to me, so I guess this must be the...
But it's okay, because we'll let everybody know. So it's okay if Bill does that, because this is his last episode.
Yes, it is.
Catholic Views.
Yes, it is. You know what's interesting about this, actually? So I looked to last year's Biblical Bites for Easter, because I was just like, I want to make sure I don't talk about the same thing. And last year for Easter's episode of Biblical Bites, we welcomed Bill back. Bill had been under the weather.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
And that was his first episode back after a couple of weeks off. And now, a liturgical year later, this is his last appearance. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with Bill next year on Biblical Bites.
We may not know.
We'll
just bring him in as a
Easter
guest.
time. Maybe that's what it's going to be.
Can I call in?
Yes,
call in.
you can call in.
First time caller, first time listener.
Bill Seeley back from the dead for Easter on Biblical Bites.
Right. So we are really sad that Bill's leaving us, but he will be missed, and I guess his replacement, Casey, will be here next weekend. We'll let him work in to the whole job of producer first before we make him make comments.
That's
Get ready for them bust tire marks to go right over to your back.
Whatever. That's what I do to her, not to you.
Yes, true. That's very true. Okay.
So, Bill, we'll miss you. Thanks for being here.
I will miss you all, too.
Yeah.
That's the first time he said that. I almost believed it.
It's the Easter joy.
And now
it's the
now
new
it's
spirit.
Recorded, too. I can't even take it back.
You can't.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's Easter Sunday, and the gospel for Easter Sunday, Renee, is from John, but many of us will probably hear Luke's account because that's what's read at the Easter Vigil, and most priests, it's easier just to prepare one homily than two. So
sure.
I want to look at, actually, the Luke's account of the resurrection, just a couple little details for this episode. So the gospel begins, "At daybreak on the first day of the week, the women who had come from Galilee with Jesus took the spices they prepared and went to the tomb. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. They were puzzling, people with dazzling garments, blah, blah, blah." So we'll come back to that maybe.
With reverence. That's nice.
Reverence.
Yeah, I know. So, but I want to give a little bit of the context. So that's the beginning of chapter 24 in Luke's Gospel. So if we back up briefly, the end of chapter 23 in Luke's Gospel, Jesus is taken down from the cross. This is verse 54, chapter 23, verse 54. "It was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was beginning. The women who had come with him from Galilee followed and saw the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and ointments. On the Sabbath, they rested according to the commandment." So as we know, the timeline here, Jesus died on Friday. We call it Good Friday now. Jesus died on Friday, but because Saturday is the Sabbath, they didn't do the normal preparation of the body because the Sabbath begins Friday night. So they're planning, okay, we'll go back to the tomb on Sunday morning to do the things the rituals around preparing the body with the spices and so on. This is just, people sometimes, we don't think about this because it's so commonplace. The Sabbath was Saturday, but we celebrate Sunday. Why?
Because that's the day the Lord rose.
Because that's the day Jesus rose from the dead. So the gospel reading begins, as chapter 20, verse 1 tells us, it's the first day of the week. So why do we as Christians instead of observe Saturday as sort of our holy day, why Sunday? Why do we call it the new Sabbath, if you will? It's the first day of the week. It's not the seventh. If you go back to Genesis, the Lord rested on the seventh day, right? But why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? Because it's the Lord's day, aka the day that Jesus rose from the dead. So I think that's just worth realizing, if you will, that's why. So just a couple other little things. I think we talked about this last week. Do you remember, Renee, what we talked about with the donkey that the two disciples
I have such a bad memory. I'm kind of scared.
Why am I saying that? So we last week, Palm Sunday, we looked at Jesus sending 2 disciples to get a donkey for him to ride into.
I thought it was a colt.
It was a colt. Sorry, colt.
Thank you.
Good job,
The
Bill.
foal of a donkey.
Oh.
It was a donkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
A donkey colt?
Yeah, a donkey colt. Focus, Renee. We have limited time.
I'm
What do we
focused.
know about that donkey colt?
It had never been sat upon.
Right. So Jesus is laid in a tomb that had never been laid in as well. And the last little detail, who goes to the tomb?
The women.
Right. And they are the first witnesses they didn't see the resurrection, but they're first witnesses to the reality of the resurrection. And they are the ones who run back to the guys. Hey, guys, guess what? And of course, like all men, these aren't spouses, but like,
be quiet.
whatever. So literally, it seemed like nonsense to them. But Peter wonders what happened.
Yep. Happy Easter, everyone. Thanks, Dr. B.
You bet.